Hello students and welcome to the lecture. So students, as we know that we are covering the important topics for the SSC competitive exams, and now we have the Buddhism to discuss. So talking about the Buddhism, so let me tell you one thing in a straightforward manner. The Buddhism is an important topic of ancient India, okay, from the competitive exams point of view. Many questions could be asked from this topic in your examination, and you are required to give the answer of the questions that have been asked to you in a well accurate manner. And for this, we could say that we have to understand the Buddhism from various ways. It means there is no one way through which we could understand the Buddhism in a normal sense. And there is no fixed boundary defined by it. So basically we can say to discuss the Buddhism, we have to discuss these areas first. Like founder and origin of the religion, that we will discuss. Introduction to Buddhism, that we will discuss. Life of Siddhartha Gautama, that we have discussed. Core teachings, that's what we will discuss. Noble Eightfold Path, that we will discuss. Major branches of Buddhism, that we will discuss. Important concepts in Buddhism, that we will discuss. Practices in Buddhism, that is what we will discuss. Three jewels of Buddhism, that we will discuss. Buddhist scriptures, that we will discuss. Sects of Buddhism, that we will discuss. Buddhist Council, that we will discuss. Significance of the Council, that we will discuss. Conclusion of Council, that we will discuss. The spread of Buddhism, that we will discuss. And the modern Buddhism and conclusion, that we will discuss. So we can say these all are the topics that we had scheduled for the discussion under this particular series. Before starting the lecture, there is a small disclaimer. Okay. The images used in a slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and the owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathee@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. Okay? That is the disclaimer. Now, come to the first point, that is the founder and origin. So, when we talk about this, remember, the Buddhism was founded by Siddhartha Gautama. Okay? He was the founder of Buddhist religion. Siddhartha Gautama is also known as Buddha. Buddha is a word that is used to denote any person who is enlightened. It means that the person who is having the knowledge of this world, okay, about everything that happens here and all. And basically, he discovered the Buddhism in the 5th century BC. If we talk about his life, then remember, he was born in Lumbini, and that lies in present-day Nepal. Okay? Lumbini, present-day Nepal. Remember that Buddhist, or you can say the Siddhartha Gautama, he basically belonged to the royal family. Okay? He born to the royal king of Shakya or Shakya Kshatriya clan. We can say this. Okay. And later on, when he was a small child, okay, his father do not wanted him to go outside and all, but somehow he managed to come outside of his home, and then his journey to becoming an enlightened one started. And what happened during this time period, why his father do not want him to let him out and all, we will discuss in this lecture. Okay. First, after the founder and the origin, let's have a discussion over the introduction of Buddhism. So the Buddhism is a religion and philosophy. It means that it is not only a religion, but it's also having its own thought of schools and all. That's why the philosophy. Both the thing, the religion and the philosophy, is founded by the common person whose name was Siddhartha Gautama. Okay? And Siddhartha Gautama is the one who is also known as Buddha or the Enlightened One. In the 5th century BCE, in what is now Nepal and India. Basically, in Buddhism, it emphasizes the path to enlightenment. It means to become a knowledgeable person who knows everything about this universe. How does this universe operate? What does the universe carries on? Through conducting an ethical conduct, maintaining the mental discipline, and organizing the wisdom. All right. So these are some of the major areas: ethical conduct, the mental discipline, and the wisdom. All right. So if we talk about the life of Siddhartha Gautama, okay, who was the founder of the Buddhist religion, then remember the first we have to start from the birth and the early life. So the Siddhartha was basically born into a royal family in Lumbini. Lumbini is present day at Nepal. Okay. When he was a child, because he born in the life of prince. So that's why initially state he having a life of luxuriness or the luxury life until he got encountered the 4 sights. What was these 4 sights? An old man, okay, a sick man, a dead man, and asset. Okay, these 4 were the signs that he had seen, and that's why his father did not want him to go outside, because he did not want him to see the problems of the world. His father wanted him to enjoy the luxury life that he got from his birth. But these 4 signs changed his mind, and then he started thinking of the reduction from the world's problem. Great renunciation. So basically, he was only 29 years old when the Siddhartha Gautama announced his princely life. It means that he left his royal home and went out to seek the truth about the human suffering. Why the humans suffer? Why me and you and we all are suffering in our life? Okay. And basically, in his journey, he practiced an extreme asceticism. It means that he gave up the materialistic things, and for his survival, he got dependent on the nature. And that's how he discovered the middle way. Okay. Enlightenment. After meditating under the Bodhi tree in Bodh Gaya. Okay. This Bodh Gaya is not in Nepal, it is in India's Bihar. Basically, Siddhartha attained the enlightenment. and he was 35 years old. It means 6 years he took to seek the truth of the world. And then he became the Buddha, or the awakened one, who having the knowledge of the things and all. Okay? Teaching and death. So the Buddha spent the rest of his life teaching the Dharma, the path the people should follow so that they could also got the enlightenment and the knowledge of world. And he got died when he was 80 years old in Kushinagar, Bihar. Okay? Sorry, Kushinagar was not in Bihar. On that time, that was in the United Province. If we talk about the core teachings of the Buddhist religion, first is dukkha, suffering. So, according to the Buddhists, life is filled with suffering and the dissatisfaction. Okay? Second is samudaya, cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is basically the craving and attachment that we have for our surroundings. Third is nirodh. Okay? Cessation of suffering. The suffering that we have around ourselves, that could be end by eliminating the craving and the attachment. Alright? Fourth is mag. Okay? This is part to the cessation of suffering. The way to end suffering is through the Noble Eightfold Path. Alright? So, these are those Noble Eightfold Path that the person could follow to end his sufferings. And these parts are goes as follows. First is right understanding. Understanding the nature of reality and the path of transformation. Okay? It means that you have to see the things in their real scenario. Right intent. Commitment to ethical and mental self-improvement. Okay? Right speech. Always speak truthfully and kindly. Right action. Ethical conduct and non-harming behavior towards the other ones. Right livelihood. Earning a living in a way that it does not harm the others. Right effort. Cultivating the positive states of mind and eliminating the negative ones. Right mindfulness. Developing the awareness and attention in the present movement. Right concentration. Practicing meditation to achieve the mental clarity and focus. Alright. Thereafter, now we have the major branches of Buddhism. So remember, when the Buddhism was started by the Siddhartha Gautama, the Buddhism on that time was not divided into any sects. But over the period of time, because of the interpretation and the mix-up of the local cultures and all, the Buddhism also got divided into some branches. And these are also called as sects of Buddhism or the major branches of Buddhism. If we start tracking down these branches of Buddhism, then the first branch that we have is the Theravada Buddhism. This branch is mainly practiced in the predominantly Sri Lanka, Thailand, Myanmar, Laos, and Cambodia. Okay. After this comes the scripture. The scripture they follow is Pali Canon. It is the Tipitaka. What do you mean by the Tipitaka? We will see this in this lecture only. Focus. Personal alignment through the monastic path. It means that if you will follow the asceticism or the monastic path, you will get the reality of the world, enlightenment of the world. Okay. Thereafter, the Mahayana Buddhism. Location is China, Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and Tibet. If we talk about the scripture that they follow, so basically they follow the sutras that are generally written down in Sanskrit language. Okay. If we talk about the focus, so the Bodhisattva path is followed by them so that they could attain the enlightenment for everyone, for all living beings. Thereafter comes the Vajrayana Buddhism. Vajrayana is mainly found in Tibet, Bhutan, and Mongolia. The scriptures that they follow is the Tantra. Okay. And they focus that the esoteric practices and rituals that the person could follow to achieve the enlightenment swiftly and fastly. Okay. After the Noble Eightfold Path and the major branches of the Buddhism. Now what we have the important concepts in Buddhism that the Buddhists follow. First concept is karma. So in Buddhism, the karma stands out the law of moral causation, where one's action in past and present lives affect their future lives. It means that whatever you have done in your past and whatever you are doing in your present with the others and with yourself, that will be reflected in your future lives for sure. After this, the samsara. Samsara is the cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, driven by karma and characterized by suffering. It means that as per your karma, after getting the birth, you will have the painful or non-painful death, and you will have the rebirth in hardship or non-hardship. Everything is governed by your karma. Thereafter, the nirvana. Ultimate goal of Buddhism is that representing the liberation from samsara and the end of suffering. It means that by following the Buddhism, you could liberate yourself from the samsara and you could end your suffering that you are having because of the samsara. Alright? That is the thing. After this, if we talk about the practices that we follow in Buddhism. So what practices that the Buddhism follow? Meditation. In meditation, the first comes the samatha. Samatha is calm abiding. It means that close your eyes, developing the concentration and keep yourself silent so that you could maintain the tranquility. Vipassana, insight. It means that whenever you do the meditation and you try to listen out the nature, you will get the insight into the nature of reality. Thereafter, following 5 precepts. It means one should abstain from killing. It means that we should not kill anyone. We could not take anyone's life. Thereafter, abstain from stealing. It means that we must have the thing that we are born to. Okay. It means that we could not steal anything from anyone and the things that do not mean for us. Third is abstain from sexual misconduct. It means that just to satisfy our body needs, we could not sexually misconduct with anyone. Abstain from false speech. It means that we should not say anything that is false or not true. Thereafter, abstaining from intoxicants which could cloud the mind and could make off your out of your senses. Because in Buddhism, the thing is that the how long the person could be in his senses. So if you're consuming any intoxicants, ultimately you will be out of your senses. That will be not good. After this, the rituals and festivals that follows are in Buddhism. Visak. This is the celebration of the birth, enlightenment, and the death of Lord Buddha. Okay. After this, Uposatha. It means observance of days for deepening practices and renewing commitment to the precepts. Thereafter, now we have the three jewels of Buddhism. What are the three jewels of Buddhism? So Buddhists take refuge in the three jewels that are also known as triple gem of Buddhism. What are these three gems? First gem is Buddha himself. Buddha is the teacher who has achieved the enlightenment and got the knowledge of the universe and understand the universe language. Second is Dharma, the teachings and the path that the person is following to get the enlightenment about the universe and the things. Okay. Third is Sangha. Sangha is the monastic community of the Buddhist practitioners. It means that whosoever is following the Buddhist paths, okay, and whosoever is following the Buddha and Dharma to get the enlightenment and liberate himself from the universal desires, then these all are commonly known as the Sangha or the monastic communities. And these three, Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, commonly or combinedly called as the three gems of the Buddhism. Okay. After this, now we have the Buddhist scriptures. So, the primary scriptures of Buddhism are the three Pitaka. Okay. Also known as the Pali Canon, which consists of the three baskets or collections. Okay. First basket is Vinaya Pitaka, rules and regulations for monastic life. Okay. Second is Sut Pitaka, discourses and teachings attributed to Buddha. Third is Abhidham Pitaka, philosophical and doctrinal analysis of Buddhist teaching. Okay. So these three are the Buddhist scriptures. Thereafter, if we talk about the sects of Buddhism, then the major branches of Buddhism also called as a sect of Buddhism. So we can say, as I have told you, in starting when the Buddhism was founded, there was no such division and the sects, or you can say the branches of Buddhism existed. But over the period of time, as the Buddhism expanded, because of the interpretation, because of the influence with the local culture and all, the Buddhism developed different sects and the branches. Okay. So we can say over time, different school or sects of Buddhism got emerged. Okay. And each with having its own interpretation and emphasis on specific teachings of Lord Buddha. Okay. And the major schools of the sects of Buddhism are Theravada, Mahayana, Vajrayana. Okay. And all these we had discussed just now. After this, now we have the Buddhist Council. Okay. So if we talk about the Buddhist councils, so Buddhist councils have played a crucial role in preserving and propagating the teachings of Lord Buddha. The councils were organized or conveyed so that we could recite, compile, and codify the Buddha's teaching, and these teachings were known as the Dharma and Vinaya. Okay, Dharma and Vinaya. So now we have the first Buddhist council. Location is Rajgir or Rajgaha, India. That was conveyed by King Ajazsatru, presided by Mahakashap. Objective was to preserve the Buddha's teaching after his death, means parinirvana, means param gyan or supreme knowledge. Compilation of teachings was happened there. Anand recited the sutras, Buddha's discourses, and Upali recited the Vinaya, monastic rules. Outcome: the teachings were memorized and orally transmitted, forming the basis of Pali Canon. Second Buddhist Council. Location was Vaishali, India. Conveyed by King Kalashok. Presided by Sabha Kami. Objective: to address disputes regarding the monastic discipline. 10 points of disputes. Monks from the Vajji Sangh were accused of violating the 10 points of Vinaya. Outcome: the council condemned the practice of the Vajji monks, reaffirming the original Vinaya rules, led to the first sechism of Buddhism, creating the Satavira, that is also known as Theravada, and Mahasangika schools. Third council. 250 BC. Location was Pataliputra, India. Conveyed by Emperor Ashok. Presided by Mogaliput Tisa. Objectives were to purify the Sangh or the monastic community of corruption and heretical views. Thereafter, compilation of the Abhidhamma. Mogaliputta Tisa compiled the Kathavatu, a key text of the Abhidham Pitaka. Outcome was the council led to the expulsion of heretical monks and the reaffirmation of the Theravada teachings. Also resulted in the spread of Buddhism beyond India through the missionary works. Okay. Thereafter, the fourth council. The fourth Buddhist council was happened in 100 CE. Location was Kashmir, India. Conveyed by King Kanishk of the Kushan Empire. Presided by Vasumitra and Ashwakush. Objectives were to compile and systematize the Saraswati Vada teachings, a major school of early Buddhism. Compilation of Mahavivasha, a comprehensive commentary of Abhidharma. Outcome was the council marked the rise of Mahayana Buddhism and the glorification of Mahayana texts. Fifth Buddhist Council, 1871 CE. Location was Mandalay, Myanmar. Conveyed by King Mindon Min. Presided by senior monks. Objective: to recite and preserve the Pali Canon. Inscription of the Canon. The entire Pali Canon was inscribed on 729 marble slabs. Outcome: inscription known as the world's largest book or house at Kutho Dao Pagoda in Mandalay, ensuring the preservation of Theravada texts. Sixth Buddhist Council, 1954 to 1956. Location was Yangon, Myanmar. Conveyed by Prime Minister Yuno, presided by various senior monks. To recite and authenticate the Pali Canon. International participation. Monks from various Theravadi countries, including Sri Lanka, Thailand, Cambodia, Laos, and Myanmar, they all participated. Outcome: Council reaffirmed the Pali Canon and produced a new authoritative edition known as the Burmese Canon. Now, if we talk about the significance of these councils, first was preservation of teaching. Council played a critical role in preserving the Buddha's teaching, ensuring their accuracy and integrity. Codification of scriptures. Oral teachings were systematically compiled and later written down, forming the canonical texts of different Buddhist traditions. Resolution of disputes. The council addressed and resolved the doctrinal and disciplinary dispute, maintaining the unity and purity of the Son. Spread of Buddhism. The council, especially the third and fourth, facilitated the spread of Buddhism beyond India, contributing to its growth as a major world religion. If we talk about the conclusion of the council, Buddhist councils have been instrumental in shaping the history and development of Buddhism, ensured the preservation, codification, and dissemination of Buddha's teachings, allowing Buddhism to flourish and adapt to changing times and diverse cultures. Spread of Buddhism. Ashoka the Great, the Indian emperor who promoted the Buddhism and helped its spread across Asia. Silk Route facilitated the spread of Buddhism to the Central Asia, China, and beyond. Spread in India and decline. Buddhism was once a dominant religion in India, faced a decline after 12th century due to the various factors like re-rise of Hinduism and arrival of Muslim invasions. If we talk about modern Buddhism, today is practiced globally with diverse schools and interpretation, adapting to the contemporary issues and cultures, continuously attracting followers through its teaching on mindfulness, meditation, and ethical living. Conclusion. Buddhism offers profound understanding of life, emphasizing the personal responsibility and potential for every individual to achieve enlightenment. Teachings on compensation, mindfulness, and wisdom remain relevant and influential across cultures and ages. So students, basically in this lecture, we have finished the Buddhism. In next lecture, we will start with Jainism. Till then, just revise the facts and figures that we have discussed in this lecture. Be ready for the next lecture. With this note, let's end this lecture and thank you.